Henry Sullivan.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate very much the opportunity to come and speak with you today. I'm a home builder, a graduate from Georgia Tech, graduate from Georgia State. One of the reasons why I'm a home builder is because I love my freedom as much as any person in this world. And home building allows me to be a small business person and be able to relish in that freedom. I decide my day every day, all day long. And then if I make good decisions, then I do well. If I make poor decisions, I don't do well. And I've done both. Everybody's had the opportunity to make mistakes. I'm also a historian. I've studied a lot of American history. I'm an author. I've written books about the speeches and writings that I've read and understood, like few others, of Abraham Lincoln. And I've spent the last 15 years of my life in a part-time avocation, being to try to understand what's going wrong with our country. And once I could figure out what's wrong, because our country's going downhill, try to put my finger on it and then try to help other people to understand how we got there and what can we do to change it. When I read this bill last week, I've never been in jail. I hope never to be there. But I think it'd be a learning process if I did. And I don't have the experience that people like Catherine Bernard have and the other guests have in the corrections area. But at the same time, I understand the principles behind all this, and I understand the principles of good government, and I understand the principles that the founders put in place. One of those principles is a decentralization of power. Every time in this world that power has become centralized, it has become abused. So just as a general principle among individuals who work in the government and who are elected to make decisions, I think that should be one of the guiding principles that guides everyone on a daily basis, that we should not just automatically try to centralize power, because when we do that, that is where power gets abused. What we have in this bill, after having read it last week, and I'm as fresh to the bill as a lot of the folks here, because I know you guys are busy. But when I sat down and read the bill last week, what I saw was symptomatic of a decline of civilizations. What we have created here in this bill, in my opinion, is a channel, a tool for the channeling of power from one individual to reach down to the very lowest level of law enforcement in the state, and to be able to effectively create things to happen at that level. What we have right now, before this bill becomes law, is that those abuses that happen down at the local level, they're at least localized. And if there is someone making money on keeping someone else under probation,
You're over 3 minutes.
then at least it's localized at that level. But what we will end up with, if this bill goes through, is that we will have created a tool to funnel those local decisions and localizing those abuses all the way up to one individual. One individual will be able to make the decision whether all of those satellite offices they're having small amounts of abuse will then be taken over by, say, a corrections corporation that might have the franchise for the entire state. And if that happens, then this entire department became political. A really good idea, trying to get everyone in line to make a system better, just politicized the entire environment in which our probation and parole system is being administered. And I caution the state of Georgia against bringing anything like that into creation, because that is ripe for abuse. And you won't have to worry about how you fund this, because once this tool is in place, just like they did with the race to the top, the federal government will be glad to reach all the way down to the local level and extend its law enforcement capabilities all the way down to the parole and probation situations in each one of these counties, and expand it to the terms that this bill allows, which allows for not only parole and probation, but also allows for local law enforcement to be put in underneath this envelope as well. So I caution everyone here to step back, look at the long view of this, look at a long view of history, and understand that this system is very possibly ripe for abuse.
Thanks, sir. Any questions from the committee? Thank you very much.
Well,
Okay, Senator Williams.
I'm trying to draw something up here. I apologize for my elementary or maybe even kindergarten-ish. Yeah.
Preschool.
Yeah, preschool. But what I'm hearing from most people is the underlying concern is that this bill creates one department, DCS, that has all this ability that follows up to the governor. Is that a correct statement?
That appears to be correct to me.
I'm a business guy, and I deal with org charts all the time. So again, please excuse this.
Okay.
This is the governor up here. Down here we have the Department of Corrections, the Board of Pardons, and the Department of Juvenile Justice. And then with each one of those has different departments. The ones that we're taking are the ones that deal with parole, probation, so on and so forth. All we're doing is moving these three departments up underneath here where we still have the governor. The governor is still on top of this pyramid. We still dictate what's going on. It just goes through DCS to get to them instead of the three individual departments. Why does that cause so much angst amongst them?
Okay, that's a fair question. If you took all of the components of a Saturn rocket and laid them out on a field, then that's a pretty inert situation right there. But if you take all those Saturn components and you erect them into a rocket and you light it, then all of a sudden you have a tool for massive destruction. What you have right now is a completely decentralized parole and probation situation at the local level. Local decisions being made locally by individuals. The governor is not reaching all the way down in there. Well, what happens when you put all of this into a rocket ship, then all of a sudden you have created a tool for a governor or a set of politicians to decide who is going to be in charge of the franchise for the entire state of Georgia to administer the parole and probation administration. And that creates large corporations coming into the state of Georgia hoping to win influence in there so that they get the franchise. And we all know where that goes. Does that help?
Any other questions?
Thank you all very much. You have a tough job. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.